The stories shared on It Takes Balls are unique to the individual sharing. Always speak with your trusted medical provider for treatment options specific to you. Welcome back to It Takes Balls, presented by Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation. Today I'm joined by another testicular cancer survivor, John DeAngelo. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, man. No problem.
So before we get into your testicular cancer story, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you're from Connecticut.
Yeah. So, as of now, I just turned 36 years old. I'm married. I have a daughter on the way. She'll be here in January. I work in the auto body industry, painting cars. So that's what I do for a living. I'm also a musician. I like playing guitar, and yeah, that's pretty much my hobby, is just playing guitar and working and watching movies.
Nice. Well, I'm going to tell you this, and it's also on Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation socials, but we are having a contest for testicular cancer survivors who are musicians to submit a song that will be the new intro that'll debut on episode 50, and there's a $250 prize. So if you're interested, we can talk about that later. But yeah, let's get into your testicular cancer story. I know you were initially diagnosed with stage 1A, but then you relapsed. So take me back to when you first noticed something was wrong the first time.
Yeah. So I just turned 36. So I first found out that I had it when I was 34. I found out in June of 2022. So I was just, in the shower. And actually, funny story. So the only reason that I ever started checking myself periodically was because of, I don't know if you, I'm sure you've heard of him, I used to follow this guy on YouTube, Furious Pete.
I have not.
Okay. So he was also a testicular cancer survivor, but he did all these eating videos, but he vlogged his whole experience through it. And I followed him for other reasons, but the only reason I ever really knew about the testicular cancer was because of his videos. So honestly, I have to give him credit, because he probably, made me catch it early.
Yeah, shout out Furious Pete. I'll have to try to reach out to him and get him on here.
Yeah. So yeah, ever since then, I just started, checking myself every, month or so, and I felt something that just wasn't right. It was kind of weird. It wasn't really like a lump like a lot of people have. It was more so, it was just kind of really just hard. And so I got checked out. My normal doctor said he didn't really feel anything or think anything was wrong, but just as precaution, he sent me for an ultrasound. And yeah, that's when they initially found it.
What's the hospital system up in Connecticut? Are you close at all to access New York City?
I am. So, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to where I'm probably 2 hours from Sloan Kettering and 2 hours from Dana-Farber in Boston there.
Yeah, that's nice. So, yeah, so you went to your doctor, then you saw you got the ultrasound.
Yep.
What's next?
So that was on a Friday. I didn't know anything until I got a call early Monday morning from my normal doctor saying, they found something. It looks suspicious. So they sent me to, I had to go see a urologist. And then when I went to him, they basically confirmed it was testicular cancer. And the first step was they sent me for, blood work, and just, they checked my tumor markers and things like that. And, yeah, I think it was a week later, I was scheduled for my orchiectomy.
Yeah. So
Yep.
remind me, did you say you're married? I know you have a daughter on the way, you said.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been married, yeah, for 5 years.
so what was that like for you and your partner to kind of be given that diagnosis?
Honestly, it wasn't easy. Like I was the one going through it, but obviously it kind of affected her too. Like she's been, just so strong and like just so supportive. Like I couldn't ask for anything more, but yeah, it was definitely hard. At the time that I got diagnosed, she wasn't pregnant, but then when I relapsed, she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm. And so when were you given your 1A diagnosis?
It was June 19th, 2022.
All right. And then, so like, were you given different treatment options, like a round of chemo and then surveillance, or what was that like?
Yeah. So when I, had my orchiectomy, they told me, I could do surveillance, which in my case, they told me, I had about a 20% chance of it coming back. But in their eyes, it was, the the good kind of testicular cancer. But yeah, they told me I could do surveillance, which they recommended because they said, there's a good chance it won't come back. I could have did some radiation then, or I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was two bags of carboplatin, I think was what they told me.
All right. And then, so how did you make your decision?
I honestly, I did like my own research. I tried to reach out to certain people. I joined a Facebook, like support group just to get people's, opinions, which I don't know if that was the smartest thing to do, but, it did help me because someone, gave me the email of, Dr. Einhorn at Indiana. And, I emailed him with my questions and he got back to me, and, yeah, he was just awesome to talk to, and he responded real quick. So I asked his opinion, and he told me in my particular case, he really thought I should just do the surveillance because there was a good chance I'd be cured already. And then if it came back, it's still so highly curable that, that was the route he thought I should take. So I trusted him. So that's kind of what I did.
Yeah. And you mentioned the support group. You weren't sure like if that was the right move or not. What were they giving you conflicting?
No, I mean, everybody in it obviously were people that went through it. It's just, yeah, like some people have different types or different, that kind of don't really know all the ins and outs of everybody's particular case. So it could get, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always best to kind of go with what your doctor says. So, okay. So you're going through surveillance now, and like, what is that like for you? Because I was stage 2B, which I think like maybe is the best stage to be, because, you're getting the chemo and you've had the surgery, but like stage 1, it's like, you're just constantly in your head about it, I would assume, right?
Yeah. That was definitely something that I thought about, but at the time I was just worried about what they were telling me. If I did the radiation, or the chemo, I think I personally focused too much on stuff I was reading rather than listening to what they were saying. But I was nervous about, because with the radiation, there's a decent risk years down the road you could develop another kind of cancer from it. And they also told me with the chemo, there was a slight risk of that as well. And amongst other things like hearing loss, and I can't remember exactly what they said, but yeah, I chose the surveillance because they all just kind of pushed me towards that. They thought that it just wasn't gonna come back.
Yeah. So talk to me about the relapse. So when did it come up? Was it at one of your normal checks?
Yeah. So when I went on surveillance the first time after the orchiectomy, I was doing every 4 months I had to get a CT scan and blood work. That was my surveillance program. That started in June of 2022. And then a year later, this past June, almost to the day, I went for, one of my scans, and they found a enlarged lymph node.
And this was in your abdomen, or was this?
Yeah. Yep.
So
it wasn't like big in their terms, I guess. I mean, it was I think it was 1.3 centimeters, which is enlarged, but it wasn't like huge.
Mm-hmm. So talk to me about your decision making at this point, and for your wife as well.
Yeah, that was the toughest one, honestly, because they still gave me options. So my options at this point were 15 rounds of radiation. I could do I think it was the BEP regimen of chemo.
Mm-hmm.
Or they offered me the RPL&D surgery. So after weighing everything out, I was kind of down to the surgery or radiation, because after talking to my oncologist and everything, like, he just, in their opinion, he thought that in my particular case, like, it was caught so early again, and it was only one slightly enlarged lymph node, that he, offered me the chemo, but he said he didn't really, he thought it would be kind of overkill in my case. So I kind of was at the point of, do I do the surgery or the radiation? And, my wife is still pregnant, but at the time, she was pregnant as well, obviously. And, after talking to the surgeon that was going to do the RPL&D, it just didn't sound like something I really wanted to go through. I mean, I don't know did you have the RPL&D?
I did.
Yeah. I don't know how it was for you, but they kind of made it seem to me that it was a pretty like intense surgery, and like I'd be kind of not back to normal for 6 months.
Yeah, and especially in the auto body work, that might have been tough. Was this at a local hospital in Connecticut, or had you gone at this point to one of those two hospitals?
This was at Yale.
Okay.
In Connecticut. Yeah, where I was where I've been going. I did reach out to Dr. Einhorn again at Indiana with the options that they gave me. And he told me that the radiation, and for the kind that I have, is how they've been treating it for 40 years, and they just started doing the RPL&D for the kind that I had, and they've had like success with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it would, you know, the good thing about the surgery was there was no risk of anything like with the radiation or the chemo. But at the time, I just couldn't be down and out for 6 months. Like my wife needed help, and you know what I mean? I kind of put my family before me, if that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, that's pretty noble.
Thank you.
So what did you end up deciding on?
The radiation.
Okay. So I think you might be one of the first people I've talked to that's done radiation. So any insight that you can give on that is going to be great.
Yeah. So from what I understand, and I'm not a doctor, but I was the kind that I had was a seminoma cancer, which is highly sensitive to radiation. I don't know if they offer. I don't think they offer radiation to the other kinds of non-seminomas, from what they were telling me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was. I chose the radiation. It was 15 rounds. I had to go every day, Monday through Friday, for 3 weeks, and I had Saturdays and Sundays off. Yep.
So talk about, like, does it kind of fatigue you or anything, or does it burn you?
So I have to say that it wasn't, for me, it wasn't that bad. I did get the first day that I went to get it. I did get really sick, but I didn't know if it was from that or just, you know, like my anxiety and nerves and everything. So I was like, all right. And then the second day I went and got it, and I got sick again. So I was like, okay, I think it's, you know, it's from this. So, I talked to the radiation oncologist, and they gave me Zofran, which was amazing for me. It got me through the whole thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the radiation itself, it doesn't take long. You get on the table, they put you on a table. They mark you. They used to do little tattoos. I'm sure they still do that at certain places, but where I went, they just marked me with like markers, and then put little stickers over it to keep it from, you know, wearing off.
I was going to ask about that, because my granddad had prostate cancer and he got a tattoo. So
yeah, I think different hospitals might give you the option, or, you know, but mine, where I went, they just did it that way. So yeah. It doesn't take long. You're probably on the table for about less than 5 minutes. And yeah, then you just, you know, you go home and you come back the next day. I'd say about after the first week, I started the fatigue definitely started hitting me.
Yeah. So with your Zofran keeping your nausea at bay, like, were you able to work through this?
Yes. I tried my best to work through it, and that was kind of one of the reasons I chose the radiation, was because I thought I had the best chance to be able to work through it, because the way they described it, it was like most people handled it pretty well. But, you know, I guess in a sense I did. Once I started taking the Zofran, I was able to work most of the time. There was a couple of days, I think I had to take 2 days off, and then every now and then I would just kind of go in the break room and just like sit down for a little bit, because the fatigue definitely started getting to me for sure.
Yeah. So luckily you had already conceived your daughter at this point, but is there any like lasting side effects with ejaculation or anything with the radiation?
They told me no, that I can't. They just recommended that I don't try to conceive another kid for like six months, I think he said, because the radiation is still doing its thing as of now, and I guess it could affect the baby.
Yeah. So do you have plans for more kids down the line?
No, I think we're just happy with the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So talk to me about like you're on this podcast, you're sharing your story. Do you share your story like with your coworkers? I would imagine, and I don't want to stereotype, but I would imagine that it's mostly male in your field. So do you kind of share with them as well?
Yeah. So actually, that's another funny thing. One of the guys that I work with, we were just talking one day, just about random stuff, and I forgot how it came up, but like I told him, like I'm on surveillance, like I have this thing going on, I might be out, whatever. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, like I had that when I was younger," and I was like, "Really?" So at least I had somebody there that went through it, that that was nice, having somebody I could talk to about it.
Yeah. I wonder, like, are the paints or anything, is that any?
Yes. I mean, it was definitely something that my normal doctor always asked me about, but honestly, where I work is pretty, up to date, and it's like all waterborne stuff, and it's very, I try to take good care of myself, like I don't, I wear gloves. I have like fresh air. I'm completely covered, so there's maybe a tiny chance, but I don't know. I doubt it, 'cause I don't know. It's technically, it still is rare from what I hear.
Yeah, it's easy to speculate. There's no really known causes. So just wondering. Yeah. So, I mean, how else are things going? Like are you on surveillance again now? And does your clock restart for 5 years with the radiation?
Yeah. So, I'm on surveillance again. But it's not quite as often. So originally it was every 4 months with blood work. I had to get a CT scan. And now that I completed the radiation, I just finished radiation in September of this year. So I have a CAT scan in December to see where I'm at, because they said it takes, once you finish, the radiation is still like working, and it takes some time to finish doing its thing. So that I got to wait till December for a scan. And if that one comes back all clear, then I don't have to get another one for 6 months.
That's great.
And then if that one comes back clear, then I don't have to get one for a year.
Nice.
Yeah. I gotta do that for five years, I believe they said.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for anybody who's, just like you and found this podcast on YouTube while searching up for themselves?
Yeah. I mean, the thing I could say about it is, obviously when you're diagnosed with it, it's definitely a shock. When you get told, you have to have like a testicle removed, it's, at least I didn't really know what to think. I was all nerved up and everything, but the the surgery honestly wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. You know, the main thing is you gotta just remember, like, it is so highly curable, thankfully, that I kind of just try to tell myself that. And you know, you're definitely gonna get through it for sure. It's not gonna be easy all the time, but it's definitely curable for sure.
Yeah, and if anybody resonated with your story or had any questions about yours specifically, can they find you anywhere?
I mean, they're more than welcome to, email me. I could say, or I could give you my email, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, that sounds great. John DeAngelo, thank you so much for being on It Takes Balls.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Same to you.
For more information and resources for your testicular cancer journey, visit testicularcancerawarenessfoundation.org. You can also follow us on social media at Testis Cancer. We're on Facebook at Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation.